Well, on our show, when we're talking gadgets, we usually go to the guy, the gadget guy. But this is today's a little bit different because we're talking wine gadgets. Audience, give it up for the wine diva, Leslee Miller, everyone. From Amusee Wine and her amazing store, Sip Better, in the North Loop of Minneapolis. Hi, dear friend.
Hello.
This is such a great idea because is it me or wine devices and gadgets have exploded over the last 10 to 15 years and you don't really need all of them?
You don't. In fact, I went out into the market just kind of looking to see what every shop had or big store, and there are aisles of gadgets. And I'm here to tell you, don't overspend on these things.
Okay, and she knows. If anybody knows, Leslee Miller knows. So where are we starting? We're
going to start with just simple wine opening.
Okay.
Because this is a question that I get all the time. Leslie, how do you open wine? I know it sounds really simple.
No, it's a good question.
What do you use? And I use literally just a simple waiter's corkscrew. Now, I would say probably 99% of America has no idea how to use this thing.
Probably, yeah. I mean, or use it right. Yeah,
or
probably.
Use it right,
yeah.
Right? And this is something that, if we worked in restaurants, we were trained on these things. It has a simple, what we call a little piggy tail. You cut the foil with the top. Most people have this weird thing inside of their gadget drawer.
I have one of those. Yeah, I do.
This thing is $20.
That is $20?
It's $20, yeah.
Is it good though?
No, it's not good. It is not good. No.
Why is it? But because I know a lot of people that have that one or a version similar. Why is that horrible?
Because one, it takes up a lot of space in your gadget drawer.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of keeping things simple.
Okay.
And then this thing is like $10, $12, and you can find them in any retail store. And literally, you can throw it into your picnic basket. How much space is this thing going to take up in your picnic basket?
And the wine, when you learn, and I learned at Red Lobster, using the wine key is pretty easy.
It is actually pretty easy.
Okay.
Yeah, we do lots of videos. So this is also called an Amusee. And this is a very cool, this is kind of a sommelier device. So this thing is meant for older bottles.
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
I have never seen that in my life.
Most people have not. Most people have not. So usually it's people who are collectors or who have very old bottles.
Can we hold it still? Let me right there. I just want Eric will get a close up because I want people to see it. Okay.
Yes. So an Amusee is actually meant for older corks that could potentially fall apart when you are opening the bottle. And so what this does is it ensures that you're getting out the entire cork.
Oh.
So what you would do is you put it in, you kind of sneak it in down around the cork all the way through, and then you're pulling out the cork so that the cork is all in one piece.
Oh.
Yeah, cool, right?
That is really, now do you have to go to some secret wine sommelier store?
No,
like with a password or something? Or can us normal folks get it?
Amazon Prime, you could have.
Amazon Prime? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty inexpensive, but I have about 2 or 3 of these in my bag just when I do events, just in case somebody brings something that's a little bit older, where the cork could be a little bit more crumbly.
You use that. And what's that called again?
An Amusee.
Also, like also, but also.
Also, yes.
Also.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
That's awesome. Okay, yeah.
We talk so much about glassware, so I'm not going to cover this, but I do love a good polishing cloth. If you want your glasses all nice and sparkly clean, it's really important.
And the cloth does make, just like on your phones, a good cloth does make a difference.
It does. And, Riedel, they are the,
gold standard.
Yep, they are, and they make a cloth, and I'm a big fan.
Okay,
now,
next.
When you're talking about bubbly, because this happens to a lot of people, they open a bottle of bubbly. Okay, well, that doesn't happen to us.
That doesn't happen to us, what you're getting ready to describe.
We drink all of it, right? So when you open a bottle of bubbly, people will say, well, I want it to last until the next day. We've done wine myths, right? We've talked about, you put a spoon upside down in the bottle and that's supposed to save it till the next day. That's fake news.
Yeah.
Right? So really what you're going to do is you could use
Are we opening that right now?
We are. We're just going to open it up so I can show people how these little gadgets work. Oh, see? It's so happy to see us. Okay,
very excited.
Sorry.
Okay. It's very excited.
Okay, so
there we go.
this.
What is that?
This is actually just a little champagne stopper.
Okay.
And you can find these at any retail store for like $1.
Would you recommend those?
Yes, absolutely. So you'd find this.
Yes. So this is what you want.
Clamp it down. And what it does is it holds tight inside of the bottle, and so that actually just, it opens up, and so it really squeezes it tight so that the bubbles stay
fairly fresh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, and then if you have a bottle of wine at home, a red or a white, I recommend this thing is about $10.
What
and
is that?
This is the wine, it's basically just a little vacuum bin. So you put in their little gaskets, and then you put this over the top, and what you're doing is you're sucking the oxygen outside of this wine.
Okay, can I say, I'm shocked. I thought you would say that was worthless.
No,
but
this
that
thing is the
actually
best
works?
thing. It is the best thing. I love this thing. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying, oh, it doesn't really work. That one works.
This is amazing. This is like $10, and again, it comes with 3 different gaskets, corks, and literally all you're doing is you're just pulling the oxygen out of the bottle, which is the deterrent that's going to break down the wine.
2 things before we get to the last thing. Don't worry. All this stuff will be on social media, the items, and we'll also post it later on YouTube. Okay, this final thing here, we have about a minute.
Everybody wants to talk about decanting. Decanting is such a big thing. People say, well, why do you decant? 2 reasons. One, if you have a very young wine, by the way, you wouldn't decant really anything $20 and under. This usually goes along with a pretty high pedigree red wine. And so if you have a wine like a Cabernet that's big, what you're doing is you're kind of just softening out the tannins, which is the compound that makes your teeth feel kind of big and furry. So, big and furry. Furry. It feels like they feel
Aaron,
furry on your teeth.
does your teeth feel big and furry today? Right now? Yeah.
So, you know, you can buy a decanter, but I tell people all the time, this also works with a Kool-Aid pitcher. Literally just throw this upside down. So if it's a younger wine, you would literally, what we call it actually spanking the wine. It's technical. It's really just burping the wine, so you're literally just pushing oxygen into the wine to kind of soften up the tannin.
You do know that you've said burping and spanking within the last 30 seconds. Yeah. So it doesn't, you don't need to go to Nordstrom and get a Lalique crystal decanter. It does not matter.
No, I mean, it's lovely and it's beautiful. It gives the wine space. The other thing too is you could, this is a device that I actually kind of like. It's called the Venturi, and this does the same thing because there's a little hole through the side where it actually just kind of burps the wine 1 glass at a time, so you don't have to decant the full bottle.
And again, to wrap it up, don't waste your time decanting a wine under 20. That's revelatory too. I don't think people know that.
No.
It's worthless.
That's right.
It does nothing.
It just goes with big wines.
There we go.
Yep.
We have more with Leslee when we come back. Back in a moment. Stay with us. That's great. Welcome back. More with the wine diva, Leslee Miller from Amusee Wine. Well, now we're talking more gadgets, but bigger ones. We're talking wine storage, wine cellars, wine fridges. You know, you see them, the little bitty ones that you can set on your counter. So what should we know? Let's start with wine storage. What should we know?
Wine storage. So you can keep all wine, sparklings, whites, reds, rosés, the whole thing at 1 temperature. You can chill them down as you need them by just popping on top of ice. So people think that you have to store your whites or your bubbles literally in a fridge, and you do not.
You do not?
No, you don't. Now, if you want to drink them right away, of course, but you can also chill down wine 1 degree a minute by putting the bottle into a bucket of half ice and half water.
1 degree a minute?
Yes.
And that's cheap. You don't
That's
need a fancy
cheap.
device to do that.
I mean, how fast do you really need to drink your wine, right? You're just chilling it down.
Well, row 1 was telling me, real quick. So, just going to say. Okay, so let's talk wine. I think the next one was wine cellar. Yeah,
wine cellar. So a lot of times people spend money on a wine cellar or a wine room, right, such as this. You may have converted someplace in your basement. A lot of times people will convert something like a closet, a fireplace area, right? And so really it doesn't need any fancy sort of like shelving, but you do want to lay all the bottles on their sides. And what this does is it keeps the moisture in the cork so that the cork does not dry out.
Yeah, I said I joked fireplace because Leslie knows this. I ain't fancy. I didn't put it in. But the guy that used to own the condo that we're in was a swinging bachelor and a Northwest Airlines pilot, and he hated fireplaces, and he gutted it and put a little wine room in there. And now look, we're the beneficiary of that now when I thank him. But yeah, it's fun to have. Wine fridges.
The wine fridge. Okay, so the wine fridge is something literally you could pick up at a larger wholesale store, or you can buy them online. There's a number of different wine companies that sell these. Again, so they have a dual control zones where you could keep your whites, on one section and reds in another. But literally, if you want to put your whites on the bottom, they'll stay a touch more cooler. Overall between like 55 and 60 degrees.
You literally just
temperature. And then the humidity is important because we want to keep the humidity in there for the cork, and that's about 70% humidity to make sure that your cork stays nice and moist.
So you don't have to get that device that you just showed us for a crackly cork.
That's right. Yeah. You don't have to. Right. But it is important. I think a lot of times, in the winter here, it dries out, in the Midwest. And then in the summertime, it might get a little bit too humid. A lot of times people put these into their basements and then things get a little too wet.
If people are getting into wine, do they need a wine fridge, or could you just put wine in your fridge?
You could put wine in your fridge, but I also recommend people to put their wine in like an old pantry or a food pantry on the bottom shelf. Cold, cool, dark, dry place. Not the storage above your fridge. The vibration is going to break wine down. Light breaks wine down. Heat breaks things down.
Because I see a lot of people put a little wine rack on the top of the refrigerator, and they shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I know. I want to call Sub-Zero all the time and tell them, why did they invent that thing?
Really?
Yeah, it's the worst because wine hates all those elements: heat, light, and vibration.
So people can just get like a little wooden wine rack, put it on the bottom of their pantry shelf, bottom. And that's like a little wine cellar.
Yes, absolutely. Or just throw them on the sides.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Give it up for Leslee, everybody. For more information, go to AmuseeWine.com. And if you're visiting the Twin Cities, like I said, visit her shop in the North Loop. It's called Sip Better. It's a great store. I've been there. We'll be right back. Back in a moment.